5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action.
So, okay, they requested the best.
You'll never be able to walk while I walk. You'll never be able to talk well while I talk well. You'll never be able to get married. I'm married. You'll never be able to have kids. I got 2 kids. I mean, at every point where they've said I've never been able to, I almost take it like a personal challenge.
Clap your hands to what he's doing. Clap your hands to what he's doing.
The things they're telling me I cannot do are things that they would not tell another person. They would never run up to somebody who looks, quote, healthy, unquote, and say, you cannot have kids, you cannot be married, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. They would never do that. Matter of fact, it would be the opposite. They would be like, how come you're not doing this, doing this?
Welcome to the dawn of the soul age, the soul touch the blaze, and soul the core temp range.
Good afternoon, good evening, how y'all doing? All right, let's try this shit again. Good afternoon, good evening, how y'all doing? There you go. I know it's. So I was born with cerebral palsy. I've always been disabled, never acquired it. It's just been the natural state of my life. When I come into a situation, I don't know if people are reacting because I'm in a wheelchair or because I'm black, because both are very visible. And you can really discern what I am when I roll into the room, so it's not like I can tiptoe in and go, shh, keep this in the room. Now, it doesn't happen like that. I talk to you, I mean, even when I walked in today, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys walked in, what the fuck happened to him? You know, I mean, it's okay to have, you know, certain reactions, but it's not okay to continue to have those reactions after you know somebody. There is a need to break the barrier of the stereotype about the black male. Secondly, being a person with a disability, just look, all I need is to get from point A to point B. I'll do the rest of the alphabet. But if I can't get past point A, then every time I get to this point, you're gonna say that I'm a failure. Give me an automatic door opener on my building so I can get into my apartment. Give me a curb cut so I can go down and say, open the door so I can shop in your store. It's that whole kind of concept of what is an acceptable person? You know, what is the ideal American? People want to have these broad strokes because nobody wants to look at the individuality or the nuances in each person. And it's not fair to assume that you can do anything you want, but it's not fair to assume that I can't do anything. And so I try to get people to really see that, you know, we've been here, we're gonna be here. It's not gonna go away. Let's just take our talents, let's take our energies, let's take our strengths and our weaknesses and use them to better ourselves in the country. Is your personal preference holding society back, or is it moving the agenda forward? Because as long as you try to segregate somebody out, you are now segregating everybody. So we really have to be careful when we talk about social stereotypes about why do they exist and why should they exist and do they need to exist. As much as I do in advocacy, policy, public speaking, you know, going to DC or speaking on Capitol Hill, when you talk like that and have a disability, people go, oh my God, you're such a strong, positive self-image. And I'm like, well, what else am I supposed to have? Because if you can't see that in the context of just being a normal activity, then everything I do becomes super extraordinary, and it really is not.
I rise above it all with style and class. They cannot be surpassed. At last, the torch has been passed along to the proper torch bearer.
Some of the greatest people now that we look back and say, oh my God, they're so bright and they're so intelligent. If we applied the same standards today as we did then, they would be called disabled. You know, you would think that Einstein had an autism spectrum because he was so asocial when he was doing his work. Or Newton because he never came out of his office because he was obsessed with discovering how the universe works. Now they would call it OCD. I mean, you think about it in that kind of context, you say, well, so when you see a kid who may have mild Asperger's or who may have the learning disability or may have a visual impairment or who may even have a physical disability as a parent, why does that human condition automatically rubber stamp them as not being able to meet their potential. People with disabilities, even now, are not seen as fully participatory in our society. So if you think about it, if you talk about our politics, everybody was energized about Obama, everybody was energized about moving forward. This is the era of responsibility. Question is, do you want to change it? I can tell you all day, but when I leave, y'all ain't getting in the wheelchair going nowhere. Y'all gonna get your asses up, walk outside and go about your business. Question is, why do you want to be educated and do you want to make a difference? It's a very simple question. Either you can go really way to the right, or you can go way to the left, or you can help America live up to its potential. I don't think that we as a country are doing ourselves any service by keeping 60 million people outside of the American dream. And then by abstention, trampling on their rights, trampling on their hopes, trampling on their dreams. And those people don't exist in the bubble. They have mothers, they have fathers, sisters, brothers, husbands, wives, and they all are deserving of a chance. Education will be the key when people like you, me, people in this room start to say, we don't want prisons, we want poets. We don't want prostitutes, we want physicians. You are going to shape the world. Ultimately, the disability movement is about valuing the human. Then the way I look at disability is we understand what the realities are, but that doesn't define our reality. Here we go. My family was really good about making sure, with all of us, not just me, but with all of my cousins, all of my relatives, about being aware that, you know, life is hard, but you can make it better by understanding what your talents are and what your dreams are and how you want to move forward in life. And it's easier to have an excuse than it is to actually go out and do the hard work. Oh. My passions are politics, social justice, and music, and in no particular order. My grandmother used to play piano in the house a lot, and she would play the old Negro spirituals and the hymns and sit us at the piano, as only a grandmother can do. Come, sit at the piano. It wasn't that easy. Come here and sit on this, and learn how to play the chord. And so, we did a lot of churches, we did a lot of singing, a lot of chorus. So a lot of that, played into me like a music. Plus, my mother always had on the radio and the stereo in the background. We used to have a stack of 45s. The One Monkey Don't Stop No Show and the James Browns, all of that stuff playing in the background, and that really kind of shaped how I listened to it. But even more so, the fact that my mother would take me out of just what people would typically call black music at the time. That's what it was called. I would listen to stuff like Bach, Chopin. I mean, she made sure that I listened to broad spectrums of music. Hip hop sprang out of a discussion I had with Leroy Moore, my man out in California. We actually met at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. He and I had talked about how there had never seemed to be any clear people with disabilities in hip hop. And so when we were talking about Crip hop, we just said, wouldn't it be nice just to show, irrespective of disability, even though that's what we're talking about. We're talking about disability because that's our life. I'm talking about broken wheelchairs and curb cuts and, social attitudes. And so Crip hop's goal ultimately is to get the discussion started about what it is. What is disability? Why is the hip hop industry so allergic to broadening its scope? Particularly when hip hop started, it encompassed everything. Now it's just this one narrow slice, or trying to be defined by this one narrow slice. So. And that's really what drove Leroy to do Crip hop, and he asked me to be a part of it, and that's how it came about. I'm very excited about the journey that we've taken so far. Been doing hip hop since hip hop began, which is, luckily it's old by music standards, but it doesn't make me old. And everybody sees the wheelchair when I'm in the wheelchair, and they go, oh, you're so special that you can do music. And I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. But whatever, you know, I let them go about their business. I do all my production with my feet. So I do all the programming, the drum making, like everything. Soup to nuts.
You know that name.
I was told when I was in college by an executive at Sony Polygram at the time that I was too crippled to rap.
So if you really wanna roll in the party with that man who got this look, hold up, you better check this out. You know what? I got to get in this thing. Oh my God. How the hell is he know how I cannot step my foot on bigger toe? Fuego, you know I just so. Nah, I am not.
And so now, essentially, that's sort of where I'm at now, being a person with a disability. I'm still fighting to get my social acceptance. You know, so that on any given day, I don't have to deal with just unnecessary stuff. Like, there are just some days I don't even want to be bothered. Like, I'm not a perfect guy. There are days I will cuss people out because I'm tired. I don't want to hear the same, you know, I don't want to hear that. I just want to go to the store, get a cup of coffee, and come back home and be done. I've been given life, you know, I got 2 beautiful kids, I got my family's cool. I ain't rich, so I'm still waiting for that part of the giving to come, but everything is cool, so why not try to give something back? So, what is the quote? Too much, to the one who much is given, much is expected. I didn't bore y'all, did I?
Here we go again, the brother who's sick with the flow again. And watch the motion of the pen, it moves so easy, sin. I'm so breezy when the light of fuels the green. At the end of it, you start to open windows. We would take the steps to freeze rap. Man, in my crooked letter, truly, who can do it better? Smooth, see, like I am so